Welcome to the Business and Financial Advice Show, Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly. Brought to you by Mega, the monthly entrepreneur growth academy, your very own group of professional peers offering instant tips, training, and business networking. Learn how to have more time and increase your income by joining Mega today. And now, here's your host of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, Nancy Becker.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, a podcast for and by business owners who have wonderful go-to tips, techniques, and strategies that they use on a regular basis to help them grow their business. And they are wanting to share them with all of you listeners out there so that you can take your business, become more successful now, and soar higher. I'm excited today to talk to a really good friend of mine who I've known for a long time and is really one of my idols in the business world. She has got it together. She knows what she's doing. And she has gone through a lot of struggles while she's also been successful along the way. And I want to introduce you today to the Mary Kay Senior Sales Director from Fort Wayne, Indiana, Randi Lincoln. Randi began her Mary Kay business 30 years ago. She debuted as a sales director 26 years ago. Has 2 offspring management leaders, has over 150 consultants across the U.S. They have 2 children, and prior to Mary Kay, Randi was a labor and delivery nurse at Lutheran Hospital for 15 years. In her Mary Kay career, she has earned 9 gold medals. She's been a star consultant 120 times. She has earned 23. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, 23 cars, 6 of them the iconic pink Cadillac. Randi has earned 8 diamond rings and a diamond and gold watch for $500,000 in sales for 1 year. And her unit has been in the circle of achievement 18 times, which means 300,000 or more in sales for a year. She and her husband, Fred, have traveled to Scotland on a first-class trip from Mary Kay when her unit achieved the Circle of Excellence in doing $683,000 in sales in 1 year. And her income since becoming a sales director has averaged between $85,000 and $190,000 a year. Her highest commission check for 1 month was $10,758, not including her sales. I could go on and on. There's just so much wonderful stuff here. But I think we could all say that she knows what she's talking about when she's talking business. So I would love you all to welcome, sit back, grab a pen and paper to take some notes and listen as we talk with Randi Lincoln. Welcome, Randi.
Thank you so much, Nancy. What a treat for me to be able to share with other people. If there's anything I can say about the sharp turn that my career path took many years ago, it's that I never dreamed that I would be here. But it has certainly given me a huge platform to give other people's hope. So I will speak about that a little bit later. And, you know, sometimes when people read your accolades, you forget how really good you are. Anyway,
I just want 1 car. Just 1 car.
Just one. You know, it is really nice. I've actually been in for 35 years now. The 23rd car, it's the first time I've ever opted to take the cash instead of the car this time. And I've never done that before, but I wanted to get an SUV instead of a smaller car. And got myself a Volvo XC90, and I'm totally spoiled, and Mary Kay's still paying for it, so I love it. But, you know, I think it happened 35 years ago, and I was a labor and delivery nurse, and I loved my job. I just hated the politics. In Fort Wayne, Indiana, there were 9 schools of nursing and only 3 hospitals, and the pay was not good. People think that nurses make such good money, and they do in most states, but in Indiana, it was, I believe, the 3rd lowest paid nursing profession in the United States. And we were constantly reminded that you can be replaced. So that wasn't really fun for me. I could have driven 28 miles across the Ohio state line to a small community hospital and started work right there for 3 times what I was making working night shift with night bonus after 15 years experience in a specialty area. And that's just ridiculous. But we needed the paycheck. After 15 years, I couldn't get off the evening shift. My husband worked days. I had 2 children at home, and I was jealous because I wanted to be the stay-at-home mommy. But we were just going paycheck to paycheck. That was not an option. So my mother-in-law, who had owned a beauty salon in Fort Wayne, Indiana for 35 years, had retired and closed her shop when her husband retired from Dana Corporation, and they moved to the lake. Now, here's a woman who had 6 chairs running in her shop. She was very people-oriented, and there she was at the lake with her husband and fish. Didn't work for her. It just didn't work. So she got into Mary Kay on the advice of a friend, and she was a natural at it. I would watch her, and she was just amazing the way that she worked with her customers. She loved it. She went to Florida in the wintertime, would work it there. She came back to the lake in the summertime, worked it here. She was just a rock star. And I love the product, and I'm really a hard sell. So I used the product, but I wasn't going to do anything like that. And she came to me and she said, I really think you ought to try Mary Kay. And I said, excuse me, I am a trained professional. I have 2 degrees. I would never lower myself to sell Mary Kay. I mean, I didn't wear makeup. I didn't wear glamour. I wore a cap over my, head, a mask on my face. About 3 months later, she came to me and said, I really think you ought to try Mary Kay. And I asked my husband to keep her away from me because it was his mother. She finally badgered me to death, and I signed up to get her off of my back and she even bought my kit. I didn't even pay for it. So it came in the mail, and I put it in the utility closet. And 2 weeks later, she showed up at my house and she said, how are you doing? I said, great. She said, good. Here's the address of your first skincare class. I'm here to babysit for the children. Well, needless to say, I was trying to figure out how to kill her and tell God she died. And the main reason was because even though I worked at Lutheran Hospital for 15 years with the same people, I was so introverted. I had started with being molested at 8. I had double breast cancer at 14. I was just not a real extrovert. I would look at the floor as I walked down the hall, past the people that I worked with every day, because if you looked at them, you had to say hi, and I could not do it. I wanted to, I just didn't know how to change that. So here she is standing there looking at me, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do because there's no way I can hold this class. As a nurse, they teach you don't do anything until you know what you're doing. Don't do anything until you know. Don't do anything. I had no training. All I knew is that I had used it for 5 years. Put it on, take it off, feel your face. I knew that. So I'm driving. I put the box in the back of the car. I'm driving to this location. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm panicking. I have to pull over to the side of State Road 27, open up the box and put everything together because I wasn't going to do it. I had never put it together. Of course, I had no idea what I was doing, just throwing everything in there, not a concept. And I got to the house, and these 4 women are sitting there looking at me like I knew what I was doing, and I had no concept. And I gave them all the trays. I gave them all the profiles because I'd been to those classes. And I had them fill out the profile, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I collected it, and I put it over on the table, and I started to give them all Formula 1 cleanser and all Formula 1 moisturizer. Formula 1 was for people with very dry skin. That's like 4% of the population. Now, when you make that kind of a mistake as a nurse, people die. Here I was giving them all the wrong thing, and they were using it. And they put on their cleanser, and I said, up and out, stay away from your eyes and your lips, go up on your neck. I remembered that because I was a good student. They all did it. They kept looking at me. The butterflies are now turning into bats. I'm really getting terrified. I had him take it all off with a warm, wet washcloth. I gave him step 2, which at the time, 35 years ago, was our mask. I put it on, told him stay away from the eyes and the lips, straight up on your neck. Now we have to wait for 8 to 10 minutes, fan it dry a little bit. I excused myself, went into the bathroom and vomited. I was absolutely a disaster. Threw up, got up from that toilet bowl, looked in the mirror, and I said, I will swear to God, my mother-in-law will never be able to make me do this again. I went back out and I finished that class. And those 4 women paid me $638. And that was 35 years ago. I can remember driving home thinking, oh my God, I could throw up every day for $638. I didn't make that kind of money as a nurse. And, then I got home and I decided that I needed to go get training and find out what I had actually done to them. Thank God it's not rocket science or brain surgery. It's lipstick. If it doesn't work, you take it off and try something different. So that was the illustrious start of my career. Now, had my mother-in-law not done that, I know for a fact I would not be here right now. I thought she just wanted to recruit me, but what she wanted was a happier wife for her son and a happier mommy for her grandbabies. And I am so blessed by that because I lost her to breast cancer after I got my first free car. And then I became a director, and I remember hearing her say, see, I told you, I knew you'd be good at this. And that kind of changed my mind, because seeing that I could help those people without even knowing what I was doing, that's why I became a nurse, to help people. And the liability, all the things that happened there, the politics, were not worth it anymore. So I started my career, and it was kind of slow, but people would see me reading my Mary Kay training manuals and they go, oh, you sell Mary Kay? Oh my gosh, I need this, this, and this. And I thought, man, there's some magic to this stuff. People know about it. They just can't get it. So I started training and I started learning. Didn't want to be a salesperson. I was not one of those people. I don't like pushy, obnoxious, high pressure salespeople. So I just don't do it. I would actually hold skincare classes, and I wouldn't close them because I didn't want to ask them if they wanted to buy something. So my director called me and she said, I can see you're holding all these classes, but are you closing? Yeah, I'm closing. They don't want anything. She said, okay, all right. And she coached me a little bit, and I held our nail care. We used to have a nail care system that just rocked, and it was brand new. So I did my first nail care class with 8 women, and it was one of the nurses that was one of my recruits. And she called me the next day and she said, everybody wants to know how to get it. You didn't tell us how to get it. And I went, uh-oh, I guess I have to do that closing thing. So I called them all back. It was an $800 class. And I thought, this is ridiculous, Randy. You have to do what Mary Kay's telling you to. So then my director called me and she said, you're meeting all these people. Are you asking them if they want to do Mary Kay? And I said, yeah, I'm asking them. They don't want to do it. And she says, okay. Well, being the brilliant woman that she was, she said, I didn't get to give you one of those beautiful disco ball necklaces, which, in the 80s was all that and a bag of chips. And she said, I still have one left. She said, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to work tonight, and I want you to say to 3 people, have you ever thought about doing what I do? Don't go any farther. Just say that. Then call me back tomorrow and tell me what they said, and you win. I thought, well, heck, I can do that, So I went to work that night. I went to my bestest friend, Cindy, and I said, Cindy, have you ever thought about doing what I did? And you know what she said to me? Changed my world forever. She looked right at me and she said, I have, but you didn't say anything to me. So I guess I thought you just didn't think I'd be good at it. Oh my God, my brain almost fell out. I said, are you kidding? I think you would rock at this. Do you think you want to give it a shot? And she said, yeah, I do. So I ran out of labor and delivery to the payphone on the wall because, there were no such thing as cell phones then. Grabbed that, put my quarter in, called my director and went, oh my God, she said, yes, what do I do? Well, my director's laughing on the other end of the phone. She says, give her the agreement. So I gave her the agreement. She filled it out. She paid for her Go kit, which 35 years ago was $89. Now it's $100. Oh, big deal. Yeah. And So then I'm feeling pretty cocky. I go over to intensive care nursery to my second bestest friend, and I say, hey, Lori, have you ever thought about doing what I do? And she said, yeah, I think it would be really fun. At this point, I thought my director had come to Fort Wayne and paid these women to say yes to me. I really did. That was the illustrious start of my career. Within 72 hours, I was in mid-management and on my way to a free car. And I thought, boy, oh boy, how do I help other women get to do this? Within 4 months later, I quit my job at the hospital, my full-time job, and got to be the stay-at-home mommy that I always wanted to be.
You're listening to the Business and Financial Advice Show, Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, with your host, Nancy Becker. There's lots more to come. Nancy and her guest will be right back.
What does business success look like to you? What does business success feel like to you? What stands between you and that feeling? Business success is all about momentum. Mega, the monthly Entrepreneur Growth Academy, will help you focus on the right things and start building that momentum. The Mega Group is a network of dedicated professionals. They provide focused training and excellent support as only a personal advisory group can. Learn tips, strategies, and valuable insights to unleash your productivity. Isn't it time to stop spinning your wheels? Go to don'twaittillpigsfly.com and join the Mega Group today.
Do you feel frustrated, disconnected, or unfulfilled in your relationship? If you said yes, you're not alone. Hi, I'm Anza Goodbar, intimacy coach and sex educator. Nearly 70% of all couples in the U.S. claim to be dissatisfied with their relationship. But the good news is you don't have to be. If you're ready to open your heart to feel more connected to life, yourself, and your partner, join me and 5 couples at the Intrinsically Intimate Couples Retreat in Barbados. You can find out more details at www.anzagoodbar.com/retreats.
They're big, they're shy, they're invisible, and they fly. They're always late, they never arrive. Don't wait till pigs fly. Get your business momentum in action. Let's rejoin our host of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, Nancy Becker.
I was so spoiled. I felt like I was on vacation getting paid really well.
No, I've got goosebumps from that. I think that we can learn from that. You know, I want you to keep talking because this is an absolutely fantastic journey that you're on. But it reminds me, I'm in this group on Facebook. Of course, it's always Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all for women. And it's women supporting women. And everybody in there is always asking, does anybody know a good business? Now, I don't want any of this MLM stuff, and I don't want anything that is really hard to do, but Does anybody know anything that I can do as a stay-at-home mom?
Yes.
And
there are more women making more money than the Vice President of the United States right now in Mary Kay as stay-at-home moms, so we call it.
But I think, and I love Mary Kay. And she really was one of my inspirations many years ago. I've read books that she's written. I've read books about her. She and her son started this company together, did they not?
And her son was 18 years old.
Yeah. And just, she's got some wonderful philosophies. Yeah. And, you know, I think anybody would be smart if they want to be in business to learn more about her because she was brilliant. But once you started, obviously you didn't, I tell everybody, well, you know, you got to sit down before you do anything. You got to sit down and you got to figure out what you want to do, you know, and all that.
Yeah.
You didn't do that.
Nope. Wanted to be a nurse from the time I was 5 years old. Did that, and it was not what I thought it was going to be. As a matter of fact, I probably would still be practicing as a nurse had the inevitable not happened. I truly believe that Mary Kay was a God incident in my life, because I had known nothing. After a blemish-free record, I was called on the carpet of Lutheran Hospital by the chaplaincy department, and I was told my job was in jeopardy. And I got to tell you, I got ticked. I thought after 15 years, I said, number one, I'm not Missouri Synod Lutheran. Number two, they're not Missouri Synod Lutheran. And I think it was God's way of saying, it's time for you to come to the Christian side where we allow you to talk about God. Because little did I know that Mary Kay is not only a Christian-based company, but Mary Kay's philosophies are God first, family second, and career third. And when I went through training and I heard that, I said, yeah, right, where's the catch? Where's the catch? I worked for a Christian-based company, and they didn't care if my kids were sick or if, I couldn't get there. If I made it to church on Sunday, they made sure I was there when they said or my job was on the line. And she said, well, you're the boss now. So if those priorities get out of line, guess whose fault it is? And I took that very seriously. I became a leader in my church. I got to go back to church. I got to be a stay-at-home mom. And, I think that people at the time were telling us, it doesn't matter. Your kids are small. They're not going to notice. They'll need you when you're older. Let me tell you, my daughter was 2 years old. And I had a rule in my house that when mommy was on the phone in the kitchen, unless you're bleeding, dying, or throwing up, don't come across the little metal strip from the carpet to the kitchen. Wait until I'm off the phone. And I had this woman, and she wanted to tell me about her dog's groomer's husband's wife's sister's dog, and she's just going on. And I turned my chair around, and there stands my little, I think she was 3, her little fluffy robe and her little bunny slippers, and she's just standing there with her hands held, listening, and waiting and rocking a little bit. And I finally got off the phone and I said, honey, well, come on now. What do you want? She said, it's okay, mommy, because I like it better when you're home. Oh my God, a knife went through my heart, and I thought, you think they don't know? You bet your butt they know. And it means the world to them. So that was the start of me really getting into business. And what I found is that because Mary Kay is a consumable business, it's like you're working with bread, sugar, milk, and water. They run out, they need more, they can't get it at Walmart. We provide the best at the best possible price with a 100% buyback guarantee. People don't understand that you can bring back something you bought 55 years ago. We've been around that long, and I'll still give you your money back. And that's what I liked about this company. They really do what they say, but they help you to keep your priorities too. And I've been able to help over 150 women do that in my unit. I've had 8 management people all over the United States run their own units and win free cars. And I have about 700 customers. And I spoil the cootie out of them. I just love making them happy because customer service is almost a thing of the past. And that's so sad. Yeah. But what this taught me, after about 28 years, I learned that my mother had her second cancer. Now, at that point, I'd already had breast cancer at 14, 22, and 24. My sister and I went with my mother to take her in Toledo, Ohio, 120 miles away, to her surgeon. And the surgeon said, does anybody else have had cancer in the family? And I said, I had breast cancer at 14, 22, and 24. And she's like, seriously, at 14? And I said, yeah, both breasts. I didn't even have breasts. And I said, at that time they did double radicals and you just lived or died. And lucky for me, I did not have that happen. So my sister then, she said, anybody else? And my sister on the other side of my mother leans forward and says, yes, I had uterine cancer at 39. Now I'm leaning over to look at her unbelievably because she never told me it was cancer. She told me she had a hysterectomy because she was in denial. And she said, anybody else? And my sister said, yeah, my daughter at 25 had a hysterectomy. And I'm thinking, oh, dear God, I did not know any of this. She said, anybody else? I said, yep, my only other sibling had thyroid cancer at 39. And she said, can I just send you 3 to a genetic specialist at the University of Toledo? I said, yes. So then before I even got out of the office, he had me on the phone. And he said, can you get in here tomorrow at 10? I said, we'll be there. He became her specialist. He became all of our family friend. The first thing he said was, the name's John. It's not doctor, and here's my cell phone number. And I thought, you know what? There it is. That's the kind of doctor that I want. He took such good care of us. We lost my mother about a year and a half later. But in the meantime, I moved to Toledo to be with her, to help my sister, who was not a caregiver at the time. And it was the greatest gift I had, is I didn't have to ask anybody. I could keep my business going from Toledo on my computer. Mary Kay took care of me. She called my mother. She was still alive at the time. She called my mother-in-law when she had breast cancer and talked to her. Mary Kay had cancer. And a lot of people don't know that. They used to make fun of her blonde wigs. But the reason she had that is because she was one of the first brain cancer survivors. And the radiation that they gave her had such a scar on her forehead that she wore the wigs to cover them up. And she thought that was nobody else's business. She really didn't care what they said about her. She was such a role model to me. So at this point, I'm in Toledo. I lose my mother. I come back home, but because of the business that I had built for 28 years, it kept right on going without me. As a matter of fact, a week before my mother passed, I realized that I was on target for our next car. Hadn't even been tracking it. Called Mary Kay and went, oh dear God, I'm sorry, I'm in Toledo. My mom's dying. I don't know where I'm at. She laughed and she said, Randy, your reputation precedes you. You've already got the Equinox, but if you do 19,000 within the next week, you got your next pink Cadillac. I laid right on the floor and cried because I hadn't even been working at it, but for what I had shared with people, they were able to keep going. Praise be to God, I was in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
So
I'm going to stop you for a second there, because I think this is really important. And everything you're sharing is, yes, thank you, God. I know. And I know you. I've seen this. I get all of this, and from my own point too. But you make it sound so easy. And my question is, because for me, one of my big things for my own business and for the people that I teach is that you can't just sit back and say what will be will be. You gotta work it.
You have to work it. And I worked it even when I didn't know what I was doing. I just did things that I thought would help. I remember I would go into my bedroom and lock the door and sit with my cordless phone and my profile box and a telephone book. And I started making cold calls because to me, that was safe because they didn't know me. And if they hung up on me and I passed them 5 minutes later on the street, they didn't even know who I was. But calling people I knew was terrifying to me because if you get rejected by people you know. So what I found out was that in Mary Kay, you can actually give away $50 retail per year. And I would go to my mother's, holiday party, and people would all come down and go, let's do a Mary Kay party. Let's go. And I thought, they want to? I'm scared to talk to them about it. And they're telling me, do this, let's do. And so I had a bunch of people in Toledo and I had a bunch of people in Fort Wayne. And then all of a sudden I went, aha, I have a great idea. Instead of going out there and constantly counting on myself to find these people, why don't I let my happy customers bring people to me? So I started sending out a little contest where if they would give me however many over 18 females with skin on their face, that was the only thing they needed. If they would give me a list of them, I would give them a $5 credit for each name they gave me, whether they said yes or not when I called them. Name and telephone number. You got a gift certificate. So let's say, Nancy, you wanted a $50 gift certificate. You give me 10 names. You get to spend that immediately on whatever you want. And then I start calling the customers. If it doesn't work for me, it's no big deal to me. It's a tax write-off. It went berserk. The next thing I started doing is I started finding groups where I could come in and do spa days, or I could come in and do skincare days, because I found that people wanted to use makeup. They didn't, because they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how. They didn't know what was right. And the main reason I have a job in Mary Kay is because if you've ever gone to Walmart, you've ever gone to Myers, you see there are millions of aisles of cosmetics, and there's all these women standing in the aisle with this deer in the headlight look. We have no concept of what we need, how to use it, or what to do with it. So I thought, oh my God, I am a commodity and I'm free. Just because I teach you how to do it doesn't mean you have to buy it from me. If I teach you how to use your Avon better, I've done my job. And I'm never going to talk another company down to make myself look better. I already know mine is good. I've had people beyond Mary Kay step off to use something else, come back and go, oh my God, I got to have my Mary Kay back. My face is falling off. And I just love that. I let them tell me. So once I started building like that, and it started from me just, doing cold calls and being gutsy to start building. But I had to work at it. It wasn't hard work. It wasn't physical work. It wasn't labor, but it was brain work, and it scared me to death. You've got to be willing to do what you fear the most to make it happen. And here I am 35 years later teaching other people that. I actually have an app which I give to a phone app that I give to my new consultants, because I know they're just like I am. They don't want to call people, and it's called Sly Dial. And Sly Dial is an app you put on your phone so that I can call you, Nancy, on Sly Dial, and I can leave a voicemail on your phone and it never rings your phone.
Ooh, I like that.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
And I think it's $2.99 for a year subscription, Sly Dial. SLYDIAL. Yep.
SLYDIAL.
Yep. And I love it because that way I can leave messages for my customers without bothering them. But how many times do we see a voicemail and we listen to it? Always. Mm-hmm. The other thing I use is Easy Text, because I found nowadays, back when I started, there was no texting. There was no cell phone. You had to try and catch people. And now I can easy text them. Easy text is fabulous. I can send out 700 texts in 1 minute. They all go out, and I start getting responses immediately. So that has always worked for me too, because that way I'm communicating with them. I actually sent one out last month that said, if you still want to be on my list, tell me yes. If you do not, if you've had someone become a consultant that's close to you, if you'd rather be a consultant, if you just want to be off my list, say no and I'll take you off. I got 2 out of 700 no's. One of them said that her daughter became a consultant, and I really wondered, why didn't you tell me? I would have celebrated with you, those types of things. But I always try to give them the option so that I'm not bothering them. We're so worried that we're bothering them. And what I hear from most customers in Mary Kay is, my consultant sold to me one time and then I never heard from her again. See, we're so worried that we're going to bother them. And here's our customers going, where'd she go? Where'd she go? So it's not really the truth what's in our head. Those are just lies. We're dealing with mostly women. They're going to tell you if you're bothering them. Believe me, they're going to tell you. So I think that if you just overstep that line and you try to care for them the best you can, they're going to stay with you. Give them a reason to remind you, remember you. When I mail out my orders, and even my orders that I put in a bag, because I do that. I put 2 Doug chocolates, 1 dark and 1 light. And people go crazy over that. It's just not a big deal, but it is to them. I mailed one to a customer in Toledo, and I got a phone call from this guy. His name was George, and he said, Randy, this is George, and I just got Gracie's order out of the mail, and there was only 1 Dove chocolate. And so there wasn't one for each of us, and I laughed and sent them their own Dove chocolates, of course. But you think it doesn't matter? Of course it matters. Send people samples, have events that they can do it. So I found that with my business, I could get a hold of a church and say, do you have some women groups and you need a speaker? Because I'd like to come in and talk about spiritual beauty and maybe do some makeovers and give away some freebies. There are lots of churches that love to have you come in and do that. It doesn't have to be a sales thing. And I've gotten to the point where they know me now, so they call me and schedule them. But you got to start somewhere.
Are you a small business owner wondering about your next step for growth and success? What if you had your own dynamic group of professional peers, a group that supports your business with fresh new ideas, beneficial training, accountability, and more? MEGA, the Monthly Entrepreneur Growth Academy, is a professional peer advisory group dedicated to supporting fellow business owners. Learn about processes and strategies that will get you more time and money.
When I first joined the Mega Group, I was struggling in a business that wasn't right for me. Now, I own a local business where I live out my passion every day. Last year, the revenue of my business tripled, and we are on track to hit even bigger goals this year. The accountability and feedback of the Mega Group have been invaluable.
The Mega Group can help you focus on the right things and start building momentum. Join the Mega Group today at don'twaittillpigsfly.com. Radio and podcast shows are the fastest growing media of the decade. The better the sound, the better the impact you will have with your listeners. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a producer-editor for radio and podcasts. If you have your own podcast, I can help with editing, improved audio quality, your own theme music, and intros and outros. Would you like a commercial for your small business? Connect with me for a sound approach to your podcasts and commercials. My email is scott@worldwithinreach.com. scott@worldwithinreach.com. Let's rejoin our host of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, Nancy Becker.
And Randy, this is not just particularly advice for people in direct sales.
No.
People in brick and mortars, people in online businesses, they can use these things as well.
You know, I think that's very true. You've got to be able to do your customer service somehow. And there are a lot of my consultants that I never get to see face to face. We have to Zoom or we have to do some video chats, but I think it's important enough for them to see me. One of the mistakes that they make in Mary Kay, which is not true in a lot of businesses, is that they think they come into Mary Kay and they can just have this booming online business. It's not really like that in Mary Kay. Now, it is in some business, but it's not really like that in Mary Kay. I finally did my first online class with one of my consultants in Nevada because she wasn't sure how to do a class and wanted to get started. So she had 5 people around her table. I had sent all of the samples. I would hold up the thing, show them what I had, tell them how to use it. When it was over, she had $900 in sales, and she called me and said, "Oh my God, I did not know how to use the products properly myself. Thank you so much." So, you know, being that we can video chat now gives it a lot of deal, but you still have to do that one-on-one at some time with people. I have people come into Mary Kay and just think they're going to do all this online and texting and Facebook. That doesn't work really well. You've got to lock in with them somehow, sometime. But customer service, be the one who goes above and beyond when other people don't, and you'll still be here later.
Yeah, and it all goes back to that really simple statement that we hear all the time, and that's people need to know, like, and trust you in order to do business with you.
Exactly.
The knowing is you picking up the phone and calling, you talking to people. The liking is because you're friendly and all that. And Randy, you know the story, and I'll tell everybody else. I tried Mary Kay many years ago, and I got very sick because back then they had something in it that was a scent of some sort, and I have serious asthma. And wound up going to the hospital because I couldn't breathe. So, and I hadn't gotten anywhere near Mary Kay in like 20 years, you know. And then we met through an entirely different process, which we'll talk about in a minute. And you said, "Oh, you were a Mary Kay salesman or a representative." And I said, "Oh, no, back off. I don't want anything." But we started talking, and then you went that extra mile and you did research and you talked to the company and you found out the things that I couldn't have and the things that I could have. Right. And now I'm back as a customer again. And anytime I want something, I go, Randi, is this okay for me? And you say, wait a minute, I'll check it out. And then you'll get back with me and you say, it's absolutely fine, Nancy, go ahead. Yep. And I trust you.
Well, I think that's the nurse in me.
Well, but I think that's an important aspect of anyone in being in business in general. And I see so many times, we were at a restaurant last night, total different scenario, but I wasn't feeling well. And there's a couple of foods that I can't have either. Yeah. And I had ordered one thing and it was terrible and I hated it. So I ordered something else. I ordered broccoli cheese bites. And when they came, I took a bite of it and there were all these big chunks of bacon in it. And I'm not one of these bacon people. I don't eat a lot of meat anyway. And after being married to a Muslim for 25 years, I sure don't eat a lot of pork. And I asked her, I said, do these things have bacon in them? And she goes, yep, they sure do. And what do you want to do about it? You know, I will never go into that restaurant ever again because I don't trust them.
Right.
You know,
right.
So I think that the customer service, and that's another story. I was doing a training on customer service and I got this book and it's called Taxi Terry. And my ex-husband happens to be a cab driver in Washington, D.C. And so I was reading all of this stuff. And this was a true story. This cab driver has the hot pots of coffee and tea. He has all these newspapers every day, different kinds of newspapers. You know, he has different types of music. And when you get in, he asks you if you want to hear music.
Wow.
What kind of music. He never has to troll for someone for his cab.
You betcha.
He has got people who he picks up every single day. You know, they call him when they need something. He will be, you know, forget Uber and Lyft, you know, he has it made and it's all customer service.
You betcha. And it makes such a difference. It really does. You know, because, excuse me, while I was with my mother, they found my 4th and 5th cancers. And so while I was there, you know, obviously that was why I wasn't really busting my butt in business. But I came home and I was approached because my business success was pretty notable in Fort Wayne with some business people. And they said, why don't you start a networking group? And I said, you know what? I hate networking. I don't like that it's a good old boys club. I don't like paying $1,000 a year to do it. I don't like that you have to be there every week because I'm working, I'm busy, and that they can throw you out. I said, I don't like any of that. I said, if I was going to do networking, it would have this, and this. And they said, well, okay, let's go ahead and try it. And I said, okay, let's start next Wednesday for lunch. And they went, oh, no, that won't work. It's got to be in the morning. I said, okay, I'm out, because my illnesses keep me from being up and around until about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I said, that's my only option. And they said, okay, let's try it. Well, now I own 2 of the top networking groups in the state of Indiana because it's open to all. I don't care if 17 Mary Kay people show up at my business. We're all doing the same thing. We need to learn to promote each other. We're not going to be the only Mary Kay person, and we're not going to take care of everybody. It's our job to promote each other, promote other businesses, recommend other businesses. And I thought, you know what? I truly believe that's what Mary Kay taught me the whole time. I'm going to teach you how to do this so you can take that concept and move it into networking, which is exactly what I did. It's a Christian, both groups are Christian based, and it's nothing for us to stop and lay hands on somebody or pray over somebody if they need it. And I've had people say, you know, I don't believe in that. I probably won't be back. And I'm like, Mommy loves you. Bye-bye. Because I'm not going to change. I think we need more of that, especially right now. And with over 1,600 business owners, we promote and take care of each other on a regular basis. If somebody puts their advertising out, all 16 of us promote it, so that's the best free advertising you can get. I found that paying $900 for a little tiny blurb in the newspaper got me nothing. But when my networkers popped it out there, I got all kinds of responses. So, God gave me that ability, even though I make no money at that at all. It's not a moneymaker for me. It's totally a nonprofit that supports a free Christian community healthcare clinic. It enables me to help teach other people maybe how to do something a little differently so that it'll pop their business. If I see somebody that's not right, and I'll tell you, I've taken some of them aside and said, stop now. You're hurting your business. Learn to do this, or we're going to have to talk about your eligibility for our group. Because some people just don't understand that you've got to, be cautious of what comes out of your mouth. Just because it's you doesn't mean that everybody else is going to think it's funny. It may offend them. And politics has no place in work. And I watch some of my best networkers, and they can't figure out why they can't move forward. Very anti-Trump or very anti-Obama. And don't do that, because people who are one-sided or the other, or even middle of the road, are not going to stand for that. There's just things that I will see that I'll share with them, but it's up to them to do what they want. So,
and I'll tell you, you're absolutely right. And that's actually what I was referring to everybody a few minutes ago, was that's how I met Randi, was through the networking. And we are, I don't know, it's probably 90 miles apart, 75, 90 miles, something like that. And every time I get a chance, which is not all that often, unfortunately, now that I can't drive, but whenever my husband has the time available, we will hop down to Fort Wayne just so that we can come to one of those networking meetings.
Oh, thanks, Nancy.
Absolutely wonderful. And if you're anywhere in the vicinity, Randi, where do you meet and what times?
Yeah, we meet on Mondays for a mastermind group where we have coaches come in and share business tips and tricks with business owners, and that's at Georgetown Entertainment in the End Zone Suite, 11:30 a.m. Food and beverages is available if you'd like lunch. Not necessary, but it's $3 donation to the Christian Community Healthcare Clinic and 2 business cards when you walk in. Everybody is available and welcome. You don't even have to be a business owner. We have several people that are retired business owners. The second one is on Wednesday, every Wednesday except for holidays, and that is the Open Networking Group, and that's at Ziano's on Maysville Road. If you're on 469, it's at Exit 25, and it's called Exit 25 Networking. Also a $3 donation, and there's food and beverage available if you'd like it, but we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have all kinds of people who are part of our networking group. And I know the last time you came down, you were a little disappointed because you couldn't get into the place that you wanted to get into. And I was able to connect you with one of my networkers who said, absolutely, I will take care of that and do that customer service. And that's what he's known for, and that's what you like. So I'm anxious to see how that works, because Dev Pipitar is a wonderful networker.
Yeah, the next time we're down there in Fort Wayne, we definitely will stay at his hotel. So I'm looking forward to that. We're almost out of time. This hour has just gone by so fast. What have we not talked about that you want to share with the listeners?
Little did I know, like I said when we started, that my mother-in-law forcing me into Mary Kay would give me a platform with millions of women to talk about one of Mary Kay's loves. And there's the Mary Kay Foundation, which takes care of research for women's cancers. Being a 5-time cancer survivor, I want people to know there's hope. We don't all die. And they're learning more and more every day. That's not the only thing that I do. I'm also a holistic nurse oil practitioner. So I try to help people with that. And because my Mary Kay is almost on autopilot now, which is okay. I'm 63 years old. I have no intention of retiring. It's all just beautiful right now. But being able to help people with networking, being able to help people with Mary Kay, being able to help people with oils, and having a huge platform to show people that there's hope, it doesn't get any better than this. It doesn't get any better. But I'll tell you, if you would have told me I was going to switch gears and be a Mary Kay consultant instead of a nurse, I would have called you a liar to your face. So don't be afraid. When you feel God tugging you in a different direction, just hear his heart and listen to him and go. You can't get hurt by change.
Amen to that. That's so important. How does someone get in touch with you if they want to buy Mary Kay?
Well, first of all, I want you to know, if you want more information, feel free to get a hold of me without obligation and no push or shove. I don't play that game. If you want to know about the product, if you've been wronged by a Mary Kay consultant, if you're interested in the opportunity, feel free to text or call me at 260-312-7862. I'll talk it over with you. I'll fix what I can fix, and I'll give you all the information, no obligation. I don't play that game. You don't have to in Mary Kay. But, you know, one of the great things is we don't take each other's consultants. We don't take each other's customers. So feel free to get in touch with me if you just want clarification on something that's going on. That's what I love about Mary Kay. We don't have to worry about that. And I figure, as well as I treat my customers, if I'm, you know, really loving on them and they choose to go with somebody else, then God love them. There's other people out there. I'm not going to die. So it's a mindset you need to have.
Yeah, there's so many millions of people out there that, you know.
Oh, and I love free samples. I'm the sample queen when it comes to Mary Kay. I put together samples of everything we have because I always want to try before I buy. And I mail them out all over the United States. So if you want some free samples, I gotcha. I create them and send them out to all the other directors because there are some things we don't have samples of, and I just don't think that's fair. If I can't get to you fast enough and I want to send you something, I do, and you know that because I've done that before.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, with that, Randi, I'm going to say thank you so much. This was absolutely the most honest, fascinating conversation that I've had on this show. Love seeing you, love talking to you. You know, anytime that we can be together is always a treat for me.
Absolutely.
Guys, I hope you took lots of notes because this is probably one of the most important conversations you've heard so far on this podcast. There's been great stuff on here. You can hear our shows at 5:00 p.m. on Thursday evening on don'twaittillpigsfly.com. And I would love it for you to like, to download, and to subscribe. More so, I would love for you, if you're getting great information here, to let your friends and colleagues know that there's really super helpful information. And if you have any questions, send me a note at Nancy@don'twaittillpigsfly. And until next time, I hope you get out there, put your business shoes on, and become productive, and you will soar higher. I guarantee it. Until next time, everyone, y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.
That's our show for today. We'd like to extend special thanks to our great guest, our sponsors, and our wonderful listeners. Today's show was produced by Scott Card. To find more of Nancy's podcasts and our sponsors, go to don'twaittillpigsfly.com.